I'm Dr. Alan Bearman. I'm a professor of history. I specialize in history of Christianity. I'm Dean of University Libraries and the Center for Student Success and Retention. It's a mouthful, right? And we love titles at the university, right? By now you've probably heard from a president and vice president. And as the day goes on, lots and lots of titles, none of which you will remember. None of which really mean anything to you, none of which really don't mean much to us, to be honest. But here's what titles are about. Universities are full of people with big egos, and my ego's the biggest, so I've got the biggest title. So it's really that simple. So here's the thing, my title, Dean of University Libraries, Center for Student Success and Retention. That means my job is to try and help your student graduate. Students, that means my job is to try and help you graduate. That's what it means, right? And I don't do that on my own, so I've got a bunch of people who help me. If you look around, students, look, this is an exercise, move your head, look behind. See all these people wearing blue? Their job is to help you graduate, right? And it's not easy. There are approximately somewhere between 20 and 22 million students going to university this year in America. Right? 20 to 22 million students. If all goes well, in the current circumstances, in our current system, if all goes well, 50% of those students will graduate. That means 50% will not graduate, right? And that's a tremendous loss of human capital. It's an awful situation. Most students who do not graduate struggle, run into struggles, and don't complete the first year. Most students who don't complete the first year are in trouble academically, socially, culturally, whatever that means, within the first 3 weeks of the semester. First 3 weeks. So the transition from high school to university is difficult. And we're going to talk with you a little bit about that throughout today, and then really in the fall semester we're going to do some things to try and help you. But parents and guests, we know it's hard, right? So we've created some programming, some things to help, and that's what we're going to talk about for a few minutes. Now, real quick, I'm going to try something here. We've got a t-shirt. So a couple of things. First of all, I've got to ask a question. Are any of you from Missouri? Oh. No. Okay, so this is not, I'm not talking about you, right? But this is NSO session number 9, that's 8 or 9, right? 7. And I think it was in session number 1, sitting about where you guys are sitting, right? This lady puts her hand up and she says, Dr. Bearman, Dr. Bearman, Dr. Bearman. So I said, yes, yes, yes. And she said, do all people in Kansas have an accent like you? So I said, yes, of course I did. And because she's from Missouri, she went, oh. And so I'm not actually from Missouri or Kansas. Where do you think I'm from? Let's play a game.
Australia.
Oh.
The one place worse than Missouri. Let's try again.
England?
Yeah, England. That's right. So when I'm from the east coast.
No, I'm the one that told you. I'm the one that told you.
Yeah. Well, he said it though, but he said it.
She does your voice.
First lesson.
She does your voice.
Yeah, that's the first lesson at university, right? You gotta start taking credit for stuff.
That's it.
I've been at Washburn for this is 17 years, I think. And when I was a small child growing up in London, England, I used to dream about living in Topeka, Kansas.
All right, Topeka.
But here's the thing, right? I did not grow up in an educated family. My parents were both school custodians. My brother is now a custodian at the school that my dad used to be the custodian. I have 51st cousins. 3 of us graduated high school. So I'm what's called a first-generation college student. I'm the first person in my family to go to college, and I'm the first one to graduate from college. My wife, some of you will meet her this afternoon. She's actually an academic advisor here at Washburn. My wife is a first-generation college student from Kentucky. In fact, and she and I both believe that university is a transformative experience. Transforms your life, right? And the people that I pointed out to you already, they believe that education will transform your life. It will open doors that you did not even know existed. Right? So it's an absolutely magnificent thing if you graduate. Right? So one of the questions, and a lot of these slides that I'm going to talk about, and then parents, guests, we get back together and talk some more this afternoon. A lot of the slides that I use here this morning, there's not very many of them, and the slides I use this afternoon really have come out of questions that people have asked during sessions similar to this over the last few years. Probably the question I get asked the most right now, the last couple of years, the question that everybody asks, is university worth the investment of time and of money? Right? We live in a noisy world. Right? There's a lot of noise, a lot of outlets yapping at us on the Twittery machine and on the cable news and on, right? There's all this noise, and lots of people saying college is not worth it. And I'm going to tell you, the evidence says they are absolutely 100% wrong. At 100% wrong. Right? So here, I'm going to show you a couple of slides that talk about this real quick. And we'll answer this question, and we'll talk about some other things, how we're going to try and help you be successful. But let's deal with this one. Here's the reality. 71% of all new jobs being created in Kansas require post-secondary education. Right? High school diplomas don't cut it anymore. So I'll give you an example of this. My father-in-law just retired from the railroad. When he graduated high school, he joined the Army. He was in the Army for 3 or 4 years. And then he went to work for the railroad. Never went to university, only had a high school diploma. He worked for the railroad for 35, 40 years, something like that, a long time, right? When he retired from the railroad, CSX Railroad put up a job ad to replace his position. Minimum educational requirement was a master's degree. Now, parents and guests in particular, we could probably have a long conversation about, well, wait a minute, if he did that job with a high school diploma for 35 or 40 years, do you really need a college degree? Turns out it doesn't matter what we think. Doesn't matter. CSX Railroad decided that's what you need. That's what's going on in our economy. The people who hire people say you have to have a college degree. It doesn't matter if you know what we say. That's what they say. 71% of jobs now require a college degree. So what does that mean? Here's another way to think about this. A Washburn University degree, a generic degree from Washburn, tuition and fees will cost you approximately $34,000. That's less than a new car, right? It's less than a new car. A new car is like $38,000 almost. So when these people tell you, oh, college is too expensive, I don't know, it's hard to get your head around sometimes, right? It's less than a new car. I'll tell you a car story real quick. We'll see if you learned anything. What did you graduate from high school, about a month ago? Roughly, yeah. So let's see if you learned anything in high school. So I'm London, England. So I grew up riding buses and trains, right? So I'm not really what you call a car person. Now I live in Kansas, so cars are a big deal, right? You need cars to get around. So my wife, I don't know, a couple of years ago, comes home and says, Dr. Bearman, that's how she talks to me, right? Yeah, Dr. Bearman. Right? And I said, yes, Mrs. Bearman. And she said, I want a new car. I said, no problem, I'll get you a new car. And she said, I want an Audi. Now, I don't know what an Audi is, but every time I say Audi, people react like you. They're like, oh, right? And then somebody, like a couple of weeks ago, said, that's what Tony Stark drives. So then I had to find out who Tony Stark is. And let me get, Tony Stark is not actually a real person, in case you don't know, right? But anyway, so she wants a car like Tony Stark. And so I said, no problem, I'll get you an Audi. So I got in my car and I go over to the Chevrolet dealership on Speaker Boulevard. And I said to the man at the Chevrolet dealership, I said, do you sell Audis? And he said, no, we sell Chevrolets. So I said, well, I'll buy one. And I drove my Chevrolet home. And Mrs. Bearman said, that's not an Audi. Good news, we're still married. Now here's the thing about this story though. Let's see if you learned anything in high school. I signed a piece of paper and I drove that Chevrolet on Topeka Boulevard. Is that Chevrolet worth more or less money than it was before I signed for it?
Less.
Less. How much less? A lot less. And that's true for most things in life, right, that you're going to purchase. As soon as you purchase it, it's worth less. That is not true for a college degree in America. So here's an interesting thing that's going on around salary. So the Federal Reserve Bank in New York says that your high school diploma that you got is on average worth about going to be worth about $770,000 in lifetime earnings, right? That's what. But a person who just graduated from university in May or June, on average, a generic college degree is going to be worth $2.8 million in lifetime earnings, and the gap between these is growing. The high school diploma is fairly static, and the college degree is growing in value because employers say you've got to have one. So $34,000 for a college degree, which is going to be worth $2.8 million. That seems like a pretty good investment. Or you go buy a new car and watch it lose money as soon as you drive it off the lot. Right? You have to start thinking in these terms when you ask yourself, is it worth the investment of time and energy? Because I'm about to ask you students to invest a lot of energy. All right? So here's how you graduate. You set a goal. So our goal today, starting today, you've got to set goals. And once you set goals, you have to take steps towards meeting those goals. And the goal that you've got to set today is to graduate. It is not enough just to come to university. How do you graduate? Well, you don't give up. You become resilient. Remember what I just told you. Within first 3 weeks, there are students who are struggling. Sometimes the struggle is because they've hit a small bump. Sometimes because they've hit a big bump. But you've got to become resilient. You're going to need help. And when you need help, you've got to learn to ask for help. Who do you ask for help? Me. People in the blue shirts in the library, right? All these people exist for one singular reason, to help you graduate. But you have to ask for help. You can't just sit there and think or hope things are going to get better. Resilient people ask for help when they're trying to accomplish their goals. Now, you got to learn to trust your academic advisor. Later today, your academic advisor is going to help you build a schedule of classes. You got to trust them. One of the problems that we sometimes run into at Washburn and other universities is this. So here, just think about it this way. I bet students, I bet a lot of you have friends, right? You guys friends? You already know each other. I can tell you're friends. That's really good. I don't have friends. All right, so my wife, here's another story about my wife. All right, so let me tell you how education transformed. She's from Kentucky, so education transformed her life. She was barefoot. She didn't even wear shoes until she went to university. Right? So this formerly barefoot woman said to me a few months ago, go buy a new recliner. She was at the furniture store. She took a picture of a recliner that she wanted, you know. She said, go buy this recliner for me. So I said, no problem. I get in my little car, off I go. I came home with a dog. Right? How's that?
You roll for two.
And I'm way worse than 0 for 2. Let me just tell you. If we're keeping count, I am in a bigger hole than that. So, came home with a dog, right? You know what the advantage of a dog is over a friend? Dogs never give you dumb advice. Right? So some of you will have a friend who came to university last year, maybe came to Washburn, and they're going to say, take this class and take that class. And the problem is they don't know how to graduate you. And they don't know anything about graduating. So these academic advisors sitting back here are experts in graduating students. They're the people who can build a schedule for you that will help you graduate. Trust them, not your friends, when it comes to graduating, right? And then we're going to talk about this idea of 15 to finish. Now this is our kind of ideal situation, because everybody takes 15 credits a semester and graduates on time. So I'm going to work you through some math here. So let's see. Ready? Just graduated from high school. You do math, right? It takes for, I don't know, 95% of degrees at university. There's 200 plus degrees at university. The vast majority of them take 120 credits to graduate. Right? 120 credits. Most classes are 3 credit hours long. Now that's a little different than, say, the sciences. There's some 5 credit hour classes because of labs. And there are some 1s and 2s, but mostly they're 3 credits, right? To get graduated in 4 years, no, 6 years, the federal government says you graduate on time, you graduate within 6 years. But there's a problem with that. Look at this handout that's in your chair. That's why we're talking about graduating in 4 years, not 6 years. So the federal government says you're on time if you graduate within 6 years. But on one side of this page, it says why graduating in 4 years, cost of degree accounting. Now we used accounting here as an example because in the last few years there's been a real increase in the number of students who want to major in accounting. Right? So if you're graduating in accounting, tuition, fees, books comes to about $40,000. If you graduated 6 years, that same degree cost you a lot more, $132,000. But notice the university's not making more money. We're not getting rich. There's no fiscal incentive for the university to keep you around. That's in your lost opportunity cost, your additional interest on student loans, things like that, right? So you're the one bearing the cost. We're not getting rich off you. We don't want you to stick around. We want you to try and graduate in 4 years. To graduate in 4 years means you need 120 credits, which means you need how many credits a year? 30. Which means you need 15 in a semester on average, right? Now, so we talk a lot about 15 to finish. Now, some of you won't take 15 credits in your first semester. Maybe because of maybe you're an athlete and you've got to go to practice. Maybe you're in science. If you're in science, you may only take 13 credits because of all the labs. Maybe you're in one of the many different programs we have to help you transition from high school to university. So we might put a limit on the number of credits you take. But we want to think in terms of 15 a semester and 30 a year to get you graduated on time. Now, what does that mean on a daily basis? So let's make sure we understand this. Let's talk about a 3 credit hour class. 3 credit hour class means 3 hours of instructional time per week. Right? So maybe you're sitting in a chair in the classroom 3 hours a week. For every 1 hour you're in the classroom, we expect that you're going to spend 2 hours on that class outside of the classroom. So 3 hours inside the classroom means how many hours outside the classroom? 6. 3 plus 6 equals 9. It's taking 15 credits, that's 5 classes. 5 times 9 equals 45 hours a week. When was the last time you spent 45 hours a week on your education? Yeah, I got a son in high school, right? He's never spent 45 hours on his, and I mean, I'm not knocking high school, but that's what I'm telling you, that's the kind of commitment it takes to graduate on time. It's not easy. I'm not going to act like it is easy, but we'll help you with this, right? So we're going to talk about, real quick, students who take 15 hours or 30 in a year, 15 in a semester, 30 in a year, they graduate on time. They also have higher grades. Now that seems and I know some of you have got to work. I had to work my way through university. I used to get up and go unload trucks at Sears in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. And sometimes my boss at Sears would say to me, "Hey Alan, you want to pick up an extra shift? You want to get 5 extra hours this week?" And I had to make a decision every time. Do I work 5 extra hours unloading trucks, or do I spend 5 hours studying so I can graduate? And that's a hard decision sometimes because, you know, you need money. But whenever you can, you've got to choose education. You've got to. Because look again at that cost of accounting degree, right? 4 years it cost you $40,000, 6 years $132,000. 5 extra hours at Dillon's or Best Buy, what are you going to make, 4 taxes? You tell me what's more worth it, right? Sure, you can have $50 cash this week, or you can cost yourself $90,000. Right? You've got big decisions. They've got to be driven by your goal. So, here's what we know. Students pay less for their degrees and they graduate at higher rates if they take these classes. How do we do this? So how are we going to help you? Well, 2 of the ways we're going to help you today are really pretty simple. One I've already told you about. This afternoon you're going to meet with an advisor who's going to help you thoughtfully prepare a schedule that works for you to try and help you graduate. The second thing Christina's going to talk about for just a minute. And this is an app, so get your smarty phone out. Not the parents and guests, you don't need yours, students, right? Get your smarty phone out. We're going to download this app. Remember, parents and guests, and we're going to talk more this afternoon, parents and guests, but this is not like Power Score. I've got Power Score on my phone. Every time my son gets a new grade, it goes ding. I send him a text and say, "Hey, your grade just went down again." This is a little bit different, so Christina's going to talk about this app real quick. So again, parents and guests, we'll talk more this afternoon. Students, real quick, so today, what's our goal? Graduate on time, that's right. So that's what you got to start thinking about, right? So she's got different size t-shirts if I gave you one, it didn't fit, don't worry. And you got to start thinking about how I'm going to graduate on time. You're going to start making decisions that drive that, all right? We're going to help you. You're not on your own, but that's our goal. So parents and guests, we'll talk some more this afternoon how we can work together to help your student graduate on time. Students, I'll see you at new student convocation in the fall. As we leave then, if you filled out that information card, Dr. Wired in the blue blaze is going to take those, and then they're going to split you up, parents from students, and go somewhere in the library. So, all right, thank you all. See you later.